Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday morning. So, we have a new article out from The Sun, and the headline is Cop Secret. Police officers secretly cleared over refusal to launch probe into sex trafficking claims involving Prince Andrew. So, it's nice, right? Isn't it really nice that they conducted their investigation? Because we know that investigating yourself is always a great idea, and the results are always fantastic. Well, it's nice to know that not only did they launch their internal investigation, but they also cleared the fact that they refused to launch the probe. So, isn't that nice, folks? Isn't it nice to know that they can investigate themselves and they can have no oversight when doing so, and then we, as the public, are just forced to accept whatever sort of nonsensical conclusion they come to? Now, we've seen it several times in this case already with people who, quote unquote, I'm hiring an investigator to look into this. We saw it with L Brands, we saw it with Harvard, we're seeing it with the police department in London, etc., etc. When in reality, it should be an independent oversight committee that looks into this stuff, not the police themselves, not the investigators themselves, because they're going to be biased, right? We're going to expect them to throw their friends under the bus. That's really going to occur. That's what they're going to do, huh? All of a sudden, they're going to start doing that? No, sorry, that's not going to happen. It needs to be an independent oversight committee that takes a look at these sorts of things. And that independent oversight committee has to have teeth. It can't just be, a group that sits there and says, all right, well, you did this wrong, but there's nothing we can do about it. There's no penalties. There needs to be teeth when you have these sort of investigations, especially when we're talking about a police department. When you're talking about a company like L Brands, that's a privately held company. You can't compel them to do anything, right? Private held company, if they want to have an investigation into themselves, that's their business. But when it comes to a public company or a public entity like the police department, well, we have to expect that we're going to get the truth out of the police department. I know. We have to hope we're going to get the truth out of the police department, and a lot of times we don't see that, especially with these big investigations that'll make them look bad. We understand that they're trying to cover their ass, right? We understand that they don't want their buddies to lose their pension, but at the end of the day, that's really not my problem. If you were involved in some sort of cover-up and you lose your pension, my friend, that is on you. That has nothing to do with anybody else. Nobody caused that to happen. That's your fault for being engaged in scumbaggery. Well, we're going to read this article and see what the article has to say, but it's starting off perfectly, right? Secretly cleared over the launched probe. Secretly cleared. Why is a public police department secretly clearing anybody? Shouldn't they come right out right away and tell everybody the deal? Shouldn't they give all of the information and be transparent about it? But instead, they conduct themselves in the shadows, they conduct themselves in secret, and then they wonder why nobody trusts the information that they provide, why nobody trusts their so-called investigation. This article was written by James Beal and Jonathan Cork. American Virginia Roberts says she was taken to London by Jeffrey Epstein and forced to sleep with the royal aged 17, but the Met Police twice declined to properly investigate. And what do you think? That was just a coincidence that they happened to, decline to investigate? Or do you think it had to do with the fact that the Prince of Punk Asses, the Prince of Lies, is a royal? I don't know. Which one do you think it is? Now the decision not to fully examine the allegations has been praised as well documented and rationalized in a review by the Force's Professional Standards Unit. All right, well, who investigates the Professional Standards Unit? Another entity of cops? Do they just go up the rung? When does any independent oversight come into play? Because I think that the unit, the Force's Professional Standards Unit, they should be investigated as well. How about that? Let's have a full-on investigation. Let's have a full-on audit of this situation. Everybody who was involved, every decision that was made, all needs to be brought to the forefront and all needs to be examined. Not in private, not in secrecy, not without the public's knowledge. None of that stuff, all right? Enough of the cloak and dagger nonsense. Lisa Bloom, who represents victims of Epstein, said the Met is too intimidated to investigate the royal family. Wow, I hate agreeing with Lisa Bloom because I really dislike the lady's, business practices and the way she goes about handling things. But I'll tell you what, I agree there. It's obvious that the police department's intimidated as hell. They don't want anything to do with going after the royals. They know that's not in their quote-unquote best interest, in their opinion. And it's obvious that they're scared to go after him. If they weren't scared, this dude would have already been answering questions. But it's okay. You can keep hiding him, and you can keep lying for him, and you can keep making sure that he's so-called protected. But guess what? You have no authority in the United States. And the second the Core of Four starts getting rounded up and they start flapping their fat yaps, well, your buddy, your friend, your pal, the Prince of Punk Asses, the Prince of Lies, will have nowhere to run then. There won't be people protecting him then. She added, "It is the job of law enforcement to aggressively investigate credible claims. Do we care about the sex trafficking of a teenage girl, or do we want to avoid responsibility?" Well, you answered it right there for yourself, Lisa. They don't care about the sex trafficking. They don't care that she was trafficked and brought to England for Prince Andrew to assault and abuse. They don't give a shit about any of that. They only care about avoiding responsibility. All they care about is making sure that they cover their ass. It's pathetic to watch. It is pathetic to see the way the English police department is bending itself into a pretzel to avoid the obvious. In July 2015, the Met received a criminal complaint from Virginia Roberts against convicted sex abuser Epstein, who was found dead in his New York jail cell last year in August, and his alleged co-conspirator, British woman Ghislaine Maxwell. Well, look, they received this complaint, and they didn't do shit about it, folks. They didn't do a damn thing about it. And they all thought that Jeffrey Epstein had skated, right? This was, 2015. He had already served his time. They thought this case was over. It wasn't going to pop back up. There was no way that they were going to, muddy the prince's face with these old allegations, right? Why would they do anything like that? It's the Prince of England. Our job is to protect him, don't you know? Virginia claims she was flown to London by Epstein in 2001 and coerced into sex with Prince Andrew at Maxwell's London townhouse. But Scotland Yard decided the matter did not warrant a full-blown probe by detectives. Last November, the Met said that the force was not the appropriate authority for the case because any investigation would be focused outside the UK. Negative, buddy. Okay, wrong. Somebody was trafficked to your country and then forced, okay? Now, listen to me. Forced. It wasn't willing. She was forced to have sex with your disgusting ass prince. Now, do the right thing and investigate this properly. Now, in the article, when you click on the link, there's a redacted email that has to do with this case as well, and it's an internal briefing, it looks like. So make sure when you jump on here, you take a look at that and you follow that link and you read the redacted email. So there's a good portion of it is redacted. So a Met spokesman said last night, "Our position has not changed. But now, the Sun on Sunday can reveal that the Met's Directorate of Professional Standards later examined if officers were right to shelve the case." So they're standing by their decision. The police department's standing by their decision to cover up and protect Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew. And again, just another black eye to the law enforcement apparatus in the United Kingdom. I mean, it's an absolute joke at this point, the way they protect Prince Andrew. Redacted emails, including one shown above, obtained under a Freedom of Information request, show the Independent Office of Police Conduct asked the DPS in November 2019 to identify if there has been any failings. Again, what are they going to do? They're going to put their homies on blast? They're going to out all of their buddies in the police force and say that, oh yeah, there was a lot of misconduct here, folks. These guys screwed up. They should be fired. Yeah, right. Even if they did find misconduct, they were going to keep it in-house. They would talk to the officers, whatever it may be. But let's be real, folks. The police department in London, the Met, has zero interest in going after this case. They have zero interest in bringing justice to these girls who are survivors and who were abused by Jeffrey Epstein and had Prince Andrew in their company when they were being abused in some cases. And of course, we know what happened with Virginia Roberts. But yet the Met thinks it's not worthy of really diving deep and seeing if there was misconduct. The Met wrote back last month to say there was no indication a person serving with the force may have committed a criminal offense or breached the code of conduct. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? No indication. Look, who was involved in covering this up? Who was involved in never saying anything about Jeffrey Epstein? Who are the original investigators that were on the case? Those people need to be talked to. Whoever the call came into, whoever those detectives were, a complete accounting of what they have done and who they have talked to in regards to this case needs to be done forensically. A forensic investigation certainly must be conducted. Virginia, now 36, claimed in a bombshell TV documentary last year her sex with Andrew in London was quick and disgusting. Well, yeah, have you taken a look at that dude? Can you imagine? Of course it was disgusting. The mum of three also alleges that she was forced to sleep with the Duke of York in New York and during an orgy in the Caribbean. Prince Andrew, 60, has denied the claims and says he has no recollection of meeting Virginia, despite the existence of a photograph of them together. Not only a photograph of them together, folks. Now we have Mr. Scully coming out on record saying he saw them together. We have the girls in London who were at Tramp that night who say they saw them together. We have the flight logs. We have the pilots. I mean, really? Really? No recollection of even knowing her. Right there, right off the bat, that should tell you everything you need to know about the Prince of Punk Asses and his credibility. The man is a straight-up liar. A liar. Last week, Virginia branded Andrew guilty as sin, I agree, after he was alleged to have offered no help to U.S. prosecutors probing the crimes of Epstein. The Duke previously offered to help Epstein's victims following his car crash interview on BBC Two's Newsnight. Again, significant, because it proves that the man is a compulsive liar. All he does is lie every time his mouth is moving, especially in regards to this case. I mean, oh yeah, I'm going to help out. Don't you worry. Whenever the authorities show up to talk to me, I'm going to be right there to talk to the authorities. Yeah, okay, sure, pal. Buckingham Palace declined to comment last night. Of course they did. U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman, who is leading a probe into Epstein's accomplices, said, "My clients say that, regardless of what happened with Virginia Roberts, he knew Jeffrey Epstein and spent time with him. Surely he had to have seen something. If Prince Andrew had sounded the alarm, probably hundreds of girls could have been saved lifelong trauma and sexual abuse." Well, I don't know about that. Maria Farmer sounded the alarm. In 95, 96, Maria Farmer was screaming from the mountaintops about what happened to her. And nobody did a thing then. So, I highly doubt that it would have been any different if, because clients say that now, it would have stopped him. I don't know about that. I don't know if Prince Andrew coming forward would have stopped him at that point, because we all know Prince Andrew is not going to come forward. He was involved. So why would he come forward? It's just this whole thing with them investigating themselves just really bothers me. I can't stand it. It's just another example of the two-tier justice system. These police departments in places like England and New York and these bigger cities, they need to have some independent oversight because they can't be investigating themselves, especially in situations like this that will make the whole entire establishment look really, really bad. We can't trust them to do the right thing here. Obviously, we can't trust the police in London to do the right thing because they have not done the right thing this whole entire time. They think that this is no big deal. This is just, they really thought that this was going to go away. That's my opinion. That's why the investigations didn't occur. And then they were caught flat-footed when Epstein was arrested the second time. And once he was arrested the second time, well, they had to, close ranks and make sure that the public wasn't aware of the fact that, well, they knew. And it's sick. It's sick and disgusting, but it's par for the course with the way we've seen the authorities operate in this case. There are a lot of people who should be ashamed of themselves by their behavior, by the way that they've pursued, I don't even want to call it justice in this case, by the way they've pursued their own ends in this case, maybe is a better word, because there hasn't been the proper pursuit of justice in this case since the very, 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 very beginning. And it's pathetic to see, and I'm getting real tired of the investigators investigating themselves, and I'm most certainly tired of the two-tiered justice system slapping us in the face at every turn. Prince Andrew needs to come forward. Prince Andrew needs to speak to the authorities, and Prince Andrew needs to quit lying and bullshitting and acting like he doesn't know Virginia Roberts. That is absolutely, positively, utterly ridiculous. All right, everybody, if you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. And if you'd like to find me on Twitter, you can do that at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. If you enjoy the show and like the content and you want to help out, you can click on the GoFundMe link inside of the description box. All right, everybody, I'll be back later on tonight with the usual daily drop. Enjoy your Sunday.